Hello, and welcome to the Mr. 50mm YouTube channel. In this video, we are finally going to show you how to repack an old Kodak DCS500, 600, or 700 series nickel cadmium or nickel metal hydride battery pack with a modern Canon LP-E12 clone battery. And I want to give credit where credit is due. My original design for the repacked battery pack was actually a pack that uses 10440 lithium ion cells, and he used 4 of them. But a viewer, Logan Wu 5830, had thought of repurposing a USB-C enabled LP-E6 Canon battery, and that gave me a brainwave. Seeing that, at the same time, or roughly the same time, I just recently bought a Canon EOS M, which used LP-E12 batteries. I figured out that these packs actually fit in the cross-section of the Kodak battery pack. And the output power is 7.4 volts, which is close enough to the 7.2 expected from the original pack. Basically, it means that inside here, you got 2 lithium-ion cells in series, giving you that voltage. Anyways, this is essentially going to be a video on making an adapter for the LP-E12 out of an Kodak DCS pack that is likely already dead. And this will also, demonstrate the modification while leaving the LP-E12 battery unmodified, so you can still use it in an EOS M camera or whichever other camera you have which might use the same battery. But I will briefly go over how to permanently modify the adapter to have a fixed LP-E12 battery in if you'd like to do that. Before we do get started though, disclaimer, as per tradition. If you follow this guide, use caution and care. We are opening up batteries, and that could lead to damage to the cells, which may result in unintended combustion and unintended shockies. I am not responsible for what you do with the info I'm about to show you, but also, on a side note, if you do this, dispose of your old battery packs, the cells in them, responsibly. Drop them off at a battery recycling depot or whatnot, whatever is available in your area. Lastly, since we are going to be prying and cutting open plastic bits, be careful with your tools and be careful with plastic edges. Unintended lacerations are possible, in fact, maybe even probable. Let's get into it. Hello, future Mr. 50mm here. I'm coming in from another day because I figured I should also make this in a written format so you could just read along and figure out what you need to do. That way, if you want to skip the video and go straight to that, wouldn't blame you. It's going to be in the description below. It's just going to be hosted on Thingiverse because there is some 3D printing required for the way that I'm doing the pack conversion. But that being said, it is not a requirement to do the conversion. But the instruction will include, how to rewire and do the things for the Kodak pack in Thingiverse. But yeah, otherwise, continue watching if you want to listen to me talk about the process, and if not, see you later. It's the end of the video for you. Build your pack and have a look at the link in the description below. What do you need? Well, this should go without saying, but you do need a sacrificial Kodak DCS battery pack. I'm not going to open this one up because it is a replacement pack that still functions, but you will need one if you're going to do this mod. You will also need a LP-E12 pack that will be your new power source. I've gone for ones that have USB-C charging ports in them. I know there are larger batteries that you could choose, but I did this build specifically with the LP-E12 in mind, partly to minimize the amount of cannibalization that we need to do. Basically, if I don't need to open up a pack to repack it into the Kodak pack, we're not going to do that. And sure, we're not going to get as much battery life as the original DCS battery using these little packs, but I'm not going to lie, personally, I do find that these still offer more battery than the third-party replacements that are available today. And again, since these third-party LPEs that I chose have USB-C charging in them, that's super convenient and partly why I wanted to use these packs anyways. And, for those that are interested, I'll link to the packs that I bought in the description below. Not affiliated or anything, it's just literally the ones that I got off Amazon that were cheap and appeared to be well reviewed. Anyways, let's gather our tools. First, you will need a pry tool. If you have an electronics repair kit with a metal pry tool, that'll be good. But you could be like me, and if you have a watch caseback opener, the pry versions, these are great. You get, a handle to actually hold onto and like lever things. It works really well. Worst case scenario, if you don't have any of those, a thin like jeweler's flathead will work, but be careful. The chances of self-perforation are kind of high with those. Second, you're going to need a soldering iron with some spare wire. You only need about like 15 centimeters worth, but you need 2 sets of around 15 centimeters worth of wire. Third, you'll need a glue gun. This is going to be used quite a bit. And fourth, you will need 2 uncoated metal paper clips. Specifically, at least the ones that I use, they're like 1 millimeter in diameter. We're going to basically cut them and use thin pliers to bend them. They're going to be our battery contactors. Last and optional, if you want, you can use a 3D printer to print some support items. I'll post a link to the ones that I designed, but they're going to be used to help make like guiding the new contact pins to your battery a little easier. Opening the old pack. So this is quite annoying. I actually don't remember it being this bad for the first one that I made. This one, I remember this kind of coming apart relatively easily, but for the second one, it sucked. Anyways, these packs, like most batteries, are sealed throughout so that you don't, open them up by accident or, get the idea of opening them up. But we are going to be opening this up. And yeah, luckily on these packs, you can see that there's a seam that goes along the surface and along the sides and the back. And I find that it is easiest to start by prying at this seam on the back. I don't know if you'd see it. Let's see. Please. There we go. Yes. And, if you pry this way, you want to pry like this with this label on the top being the top direction. And you'll want to pry from this side towards your battery terminals. Basically, if you can get the back and both sides pried off, generally you won't need to worry about prying the cover or the bits of plastic off the front where the contacts are. It will actually just snap apart, and it should be pretty good from there. On this attempt, it was a little more difficult, and I had quite a bit of trouble getting things to come apart around here, and I really needed to get in with the pry tool. It was like just not that fun, and took me about 30 minutes, and I did perforate myself. So go slow, be careful. Anyways, once you have your pack apart, your cells will be exposed. And fun fact, you don't need any of the cells, you don't need anything connected to the cells. So really, you could carefully just break the battery tabs off the cells that are in there. In case they do have some charge, don't short them, and be careful. But you could also, be less dumb, and you could desolder the battery tabs from the connector, and that will be fine. I probably should have done that. I did not. I used my pry tool, and I pried the battery tabs off. Not the smartest cookie, but you know, it is what I did. But yeah, you will notice stuff inside the battery pack. There's like little discrete components that go between every set of battery cells. I'm guessing those are thermal protection bits. You're not going to need them since we're packing in a different battery chemistry there anyway, so it's not going to matter. Don't worry about those, and you won't need any of the you won't need to worry about any of the things connected to any of the pins that aren't directly the plus and minus terminal. Additionally, you'll notice on my pack, I had cut this center bit off. When you open yours, you'll find there's a plastic bottom. I initially thought it might get in the way. It does not for this purpose of this build, so you don't need to remove it. I just happen to do it, but feel free to do it if you want. But yeah, otherwise, when you're opening this up, go low or go slow, and yeah, be methodical. Don't try to rush it, because you really want to keep the bottom part of the battery case intact, because your connector is there. With that description done, yeah, you'll essentially be left with the bottom part of your battery, and it should generally be empty. Next, I'll actually show you the video that I made of me cracking this one open. It'll have been sped up. You'll see it's quite annoying. So the next thing you're going to want to do is prepare your paper clips and your wiring. So you'll want to cut the paper clips in a uneven U shape. I'll put a photo up of what I mean, but essentially you're going to be using these as your battery contacts, and you will want to angle the clip so that on the long end that you should be able to bend the paper clip down towards the short end of the U, and this will act as a bit of a spring to hold on to the LP-E12 battery pack. And I'll see if I can show you what it looks like, if it'll focus. Well, probably not. Let's see. We're getting close. It is hard to see. Anyways, there'll be a photo in the video, so you know you'll want to just bend them to give them a bit of a way to connect and press into your LP-E12. Moving on, the next thing you're going to want to do is grab some of that wire, start up that soldering iron, and solder the U side of the paper clip to one of the wires. basically we're just going to prepare for when you do get things ready to solder onto the actual, battery case. But yeah, this will just make things a little bit easier if you do this step first. Right, now that we have our battery tabs pre-soldered, where do we actually connect them on the Kodak pack? Well, the nice thing is on the label or on the back of the battery pack, you will notice that all the battery pins are labeled. So if you look here, let's see if it'll focus. There we go. You'll notice minus TDC plus. Really, we only care about the plus and the minus. So once you're ready, solder your paper clips to your plus and minus tabs or on the inside of the battery pack. And once you're done that, hot glue the surface of that just so that the terminals aren't exposed. Minimize the risk of shorting it and all. Connecting your LP-E12. Now, at this point, if you're going the 3D printed route, hopefully you have the printed items ready to go. Again, the link for those is going to be in the description below. I'll have the files uploaded so you can have them. But the prints are essentially little guide channels that will guide the paperclip contact tab to the correct spot on the pad where the LP-E12 needs to send its power. And if you look at the back of your LP-E12, you can also notice that on this battery, your plus and minus are also properly indicated on the battery itself, and they align with the actual tabs that are available that you can see. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to shove the paperclip through the guides with the long end of the U up. And once it's through, you just want to fine tune the placement a bit and make sure that your paperclip is making proper contact with the LP-E12 actual battery pack. And basically shimmy and maneuver your paperclip and paper clips until you can see that both of the tabs are in contact with the clip. And once you have a good placement, dab a bit of hot glue on the sides of the print to get it in place, and then glue the back of the paper clips so that they don't move. You'll notice that I have linked to 2 prints. The last one is a little cover that will go on top of where your wire or paperclip guides are. And I personally find that this thing here just makes it a little bit of a neater battery pack and gives the battery a nice place for it to just sit under. But it's not required. The actual battery slot on the camera is fairly small, and if you don't print the top part, it won't fall out. I just happen to like the aesthetic of it a little more. And just to show that this thing does work, I will be slotting this into my DCS760. And there we have it. The camera is alive. Date and time are incorrect, but that's okay. And it takes photos. Right, I'll show you. See, photo captured. It's a photo of my my lights. To conclude, making the LP-E12 adapter out of a Kodak pack was relatively easy. It was overall straightforward. I'm sorry I didn't post this earlier, It's been a little while. And thanks again to Logan Wu 5830 for the inspiration. If anyone else has any questions about how this was done, just leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You know, maybe a super thanks if you're into that. Till next time, bye.